Einstein and others helped to unravel the secret of the stars. The nuclear force comes in two types, weak and strong. The weak nuclear force governs radioactive decay. The strong nuclear force is one of the strongest forces in the entire universe. It's so strong, it holds our protons together ever since Genesis, the beginning of time. The equation which allows for the liberation of energy is Einstein's famous equation, E equals mc squared. What Einstein showed was that the faster you move, the heavier you get. So your weight is not a constant. When you move very rapidly, you get heavier, something which we measure every day in the laboratory. Now this means that the energy of motion transformed into mass, because you get heavier. Now listen carefully. The faster you move, the heavier you get, which means the energy of motion, E, turns into m, your mass. And the relationship between E and m is very simple. It takes 1 second to write it down on a sheet of paper. It is exactly E equals mc squared. So the nuclear force helped to explain the secret of the sun. But it also created a Pandora's box, because inside the nucleus of the atom are particles. And when you smash these particles, what do you get? More particles. And when you smash them, what do you get? More particles. In fact, we are drowning in subatomic particles. Hundreds, thousands of subatomic particles every time we smash atoms. Now, we smash atoms using something called atom smashers or particle accelerators. I built my own particle accelerator when I was in high school. When I was in high school, I went to my mom one day and I said, "Mom, can I have permission to build a 2.3 million electron volt betatron particle accelerator in the garage?" And my mom said, "Sure, why not? And don't forget to take out the garbage." So I went to Westinghouse. And as a high school kid, I asked for 400 pounds of transformer steel. I asked for 22 miles of copper wire because I wanted to create a 6 kilowatt, 10,000 Gauss magnetic field to energize my atom smasher. With 22 miles of copper wire, how could you wind it? We did it on the high school football field. I put 22 miles of copper wire on the goalpost, gave it to my mother. She ran to the 50-yard line, unraveling the spool of wire. She gave it to my father, who then ran to the goalpost, and we wound 22 miles of copper wire on the high school football field. Well, finally, my atom smasher was ready. It consumed 6 kilowatts of power. That's every single ounce of power that my house could deliver. I plugged my ears, I closed my eyes, I turned on the power, and I heard this huge crackling sound as 6 kilowatts of power surged through my capacitor bank. And then I heard a pop, pop, pop sound as I blew out every single circuit breaker in the house. The whole house was plunged in darkness. My poor mom, every time she'd come home, she would see the lights flicker and die. And she must have wondered, why couldn't I have a son who plays baseball? Why can't he learn basketball? And for God's sake, why can't he find a nice Japanese girl? I mean, why does he have to build these machines in the garage? Well, these machines that I built in my garage earned the attention of a physicist, Edward Teller, father of the hydrogen bomb. And he arranged for me to get a scholarship to Harvard. And my career got a head start. He knew exactly what I was doing. I didn't have to explain to him that I was experimenting with antimatter. I was creating anti-electrons in my mom's garage and using atom smashers to eventually create beams of antimatter. Antimatter is the opposite of matter. It has the opposite charge. So an electron has negative charge. The positron or anti-electron has positive charge. This means that you can now create anti-molecules and anti-atoms. Anti-hydrogen was made at CERN outside Geneva, Switzerland, and also at Fermilab outside Chicago, where I have anti-electrons circulating around anti-protons. And in Brookhaven National Laboratory in Long Island, just recently, they detected anti-helium. We have 2 antiprotons with 2 antineutrons to create anti-helium. For every piece of matter, there's a counterpart which is made out of antimatter. And when the two collide, by the way, it releases the greatest energy source in the universe. It is 100% conversion of matter to energy by Einstein's equations, E equals mc squared. Inside the nucleus of the atom, we have particles upon particles when you smash them apart. In the 1950s, we were drowning in subatomic particles. In fact, J. Robert Oppenheimer, the father of the atomic bomb, once made a statement. He declared that the Nobel Prize in physics should go to the physicist who does not discover a new particle this year. That's how many particles were being discovered. So let's talk about the particle zoo. Right now, we physicists have unlocked hundreds, thousands of subatomic particles, and we've been able to piece them together into a jigsaw puzzle. It's called the Standard Model. It has 36 quarks, 19 free parameters, 3 generations of quarks, no rhyme, no reason, but this is the most fundamental basis of reality that we physicists have been able to construct. Billions of dollars, 20 Nobel Prizes have gone into the creation of the Standard Model, and it is the ugliest theory known to science, but it works. There's one piece missing, and that one piece that's missing is called the Higgs boson. We expect to find it. We want to create a higher version of this theory.